Alright, looks like we're back. Could have mounted a comeback on that one too. Fucking knocked down to 8.
Welcome.
So fucking.
Are you ready?
The guys are getting ready.
Are you ready? Mankind. Duel 1. Let's
Going somewhere, bud? What's the rush? Yup.
Duel 2. Let's
Let's go.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Whoa. Up.
Slap. Duel 2. Let's rock.
That was a little weird on my part. That was a bad call. I got a little sloppy towards the end. I'll fix that.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Okay. Now I feel like I'm bullying. Yeah, some of that was bullying. Just the two of us on this floor, man. Make a choice.
Are you ready?
He made a choice.
Men. Duel 1. Let's
Let's see if he's learned his lesson yet. Yep, he did. Okay, good.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Pretty good.
Slap. Duel 2. Let's rock.
You got me on that one. I guess I gotta stop trolling. Going low again?
Slap. Duel 2. Let's rock.
Damn.
Slap.
いい勝負でした。
Just the two of us, slapping dicks like we count. Just the two of us.
Are you ready? Duel 1. Let's rock.
Can you?
Slap.
I'll try it.
These two. Let's
I guess you can. Okay, cool.
slap. Duel 3. Let's rock.
Whoops. Fuck! Come on, man. Fuck.
Slap.
Fuck!
今回は私の勝利ですね。
Duel 1. Let's rock. Slap. Duel 2. Let's rock.
Really?
Duel 3. Let's rock.
いい勝負でした。
Duel 1. Let's rock.
隙あり。本気を見せましょう。
Are any of you gonna work?
Duel 2. Let's
I've whiffed 3 throws by accident because I was trying to do a Mega Fist. And the one time I try to do a throw, it throws a Mega Fist. Like, do one more.
Are you ready? Man. Duel 1. Let's rock.
Fucking sensitive ass buttons. He's dashing in. Why are we not getting the fucking grab? Come on. No, that's fine. That's fine. Fuck.
Duel 2. Let's rock.
Like, when the fuck is it my fucking turn? Fucking flick is starting to piss me off.
Duel 1. Let's
Yeah, that was not what I told you to do. We had to hesitate for a full ass second. Just to get my fucking proper... fucking rollback. Rollback had me thinking I fucking... Alright, we have to call it because it's just about midnight. Yeah. No, I'm aware of these things, but when you miss the execution on it, on just about every fucking attempt, you get to swear like me. So, honestly, I'm not like swearing at the game, to be brutally honest. I'm swearing at me because I keep fucking up my goddamn inputs. We're going to do this. We're going to... Alright, I'm going to take a second, set everything up and shut down. Actually, no, fuck it. What am I doing? Just do all this later. We don't necessarily need that. Oh my god. Wires. Everywhere. Everywhere. So. Let's get something set up. And we got to look at our patch notes. That's going to be the first thing we're going to look at. Because we have to... I mean, I'm going to try my best to understand them. Now, Google Chrome is going to take every single resource in my PC right now because it's. You know what? I'm gonna fucking. One of these days, Google Chrome, you're going to push me to Firefox, you know. I got to take the chat window to a new place. Where is it? Chat box. We're moving you. There's a good place for now. Okay. All right. 1.18 will be for PlayStation, PlayStation 5, Steam version as you go through your driver. Balanced. Battle version has been updated from 1.09 to 2.0. You can check the battle version in the replay theater. Some missions in mission mode may have changed to reflect this. Universal mechanics. So, balance intentions. We've made it more rewarding to use moves that have been underutilized and techniques requiring challenging inputs, while also making the controls more comfortable. So Roman canceling the normal special moves from Roman cancel now triggers a slowdown effect and limits the tension gauge cost. So it's going to cost less tension, is that my understanding? That seems pretty okay. Counter hit. Some moves such as standing P and crouching K, so standing punch, crouching kick, will now trigger a slow effect on counter hit, making combos not normally possible available. Okay, cool. Interesting. Faultless defense. We looked into finding a way to improve the issue where sometimes a normal attack would come out when inputting faultless defense under certain conditions. However, due to the high chance of losing control responsiveness when we're changing the current input method, we address the issue by adding a faultless defense button. So you can map faultless defense to a single button, which is okay. And what a lot of people say is that when you RC, it doesn't immediately take your meter. Oh, okay. Revised input mechanism for moves with the same input for the grounded and aerial versions. Example, okay. As a measure to make usage of the ground and aerial versions distinct for some characters, when special move was input as a jump started, the aerial version would come out at a low height mid-air if upwards direction was input. This resulted in strict input requirements, so we made the grounded versions activate even when an upwards input was included. So input priority for special moves. This refers to the general input mechanism of the game, not to a change made in this patch. When an input simultaneously includes down forward forward and forward down down forward and forward down down forward is prioritized, but when half semicircle is input. Okay. So, alright. It's just cleaning up. It looks like it was. I think I see what they're trying to say. They're just cleaning up how input works. Hey, Maple Missy. Hope you're having a good night. This was previously implemented as a hidden mechanic, but we decided to reveal it in accordance with the above change to how inputs are handled. I mean, that's just general. Yeah, okay. I kind of get that. Special move canceling and overdrives before coming out. This change, although it has several purposes, is mainly intended to make it easier to perform overdrives where part of the input is the same as a special move. Faust, what could this be? What could this be? Input priority. Okay, that's fair. Input priority for normal moves. Under certain conditions, inputs for normal, crouching normals and command normals will now be prioritized over standing normals. For example, previously when inputting down strike during the hit stop of close standing S, if you release down quickly, far standing S would come out. Oh, okay. So if you were hitting down and accidentally let go of it, that's a lot of it's translated from Japanese. So we're trying to kind of work through our way. Honestly, a lot of this is going to have to be like seen to understand. Come like, what is it? Friday this change happens. So. Jumping attacks. Many characters have had less utility for the jumping P compared to other aerial attacks. We've adjusted the blowback effect on hit, making it easier to convert into a combo. Dash cancels. While this was previously only available to some characters, all characters with dashes can now dash cancel their standing K and close standing K. This does not affect me if I stay on Potemkin. Dash canceling. The fuck is that? What is a dash? I got big hands. They go like this. Wouldn't mind that getting a little... Sorry. Make my charge a little less fucking generous. Okay, Roman cancel now triggers now cause attention gain to Oh, okay. I see. So it's a gradual depletion instead of bang, it's all gone. Made the timing for canceling into normal for special move faster for blue Romans. Purple Romans made the timing for canceling into normal special moves. Red Roman no longer applies any type of scaling when the shockwave from red Roman cancel hits an opponent. Blue Psych Burst when a player inputs Psych Burst before the opponent's overdrive activates, the Psych Burst activation will no longer be canceled. Fixed the bug where the activation of Psych Burst hitbox would be delayed under certain circumstances. Fucking my life today. Yeah, that is pretty bonkers. Okay, when activated above a certain height in the air, the speed the character rises at is now reduced. Fair enough. We get to fucking watch our failures faster. When input using the dash button, inputting backwards directly after the action begins no longer performs a backdash. Aha! That's why I was always getting backdashes when I was trying to fucking... Anyway, when I was trying to hit defensively. Well, okay, so... I guess they're just trying to reduce the hang time for that failed air burst, because we've all done it. We've all watched it happen. I've watched it happen in competitive games, and it's just like, you try to burst in the air, you whiff it, and it's just like, okay, we're going to have to sit for a second on this. They're probably just reducing the number of seconds we have to sit there and watch. That's my guess. I don't know. Ultimately, it's going to be weird. Okay, so faultless defense button, wall stick. When wall stick initiates simultaneously with the super flash of certain overdrives, the wall stick effect will now be prioritized. Yeah, that dash one happened to me when I was using Eno a lot. I was, of course, speculating. I don't know if I'm correct or not. Wall break. Fix a bug where there would be a variation in distance between the characters after the wall break sequence, depending on conditions such as stage when wall break was triggered by an overdrive. Fair enough. Throws. Fixed a bug where risk level would deplete more than intended when activating Roman cancel during a throw under certain conditions. Eh? I didn't even know that was a thing. This we've already read, where all the normals are gonna slow down on a counter hit, which like I thought the game already did slow down on a counter hit. We had another subscriber decay. Sub decay, it's a thing. Give me a second, I'm gonna pull this over here. Okay, standing K can now be dash canceled. Does not apply to... Wow, way to call us out, guys. Way to call us out. We know. Adjusted the size of some hurt boxes while taking damage. Mid damage hurt boxes were more difficult than others did. Okay. So apparently Soul got hit the hardest. His standing K decreased attack level, increased base scaling, now depletes more risk level, and increased combo blowback scaling on combos with standing K as a starter. His crouching K decreases knockback. His far standing S decreased damage. His forward S is decreased damage. His forward heavy increased recovery, expanded... Okay, yeah, because that took forever. Excuse me. Forward HS expanded upward hitbox, decreased knockback, increased recovery. Sweep expanded frontal hitbox and hurtbox, so it's easier to hit him, but he's also got a longer reach on it. Fuck, that's scary. Increased horizontal blowback distance. Jumping punch now launches opponent higher with decreased horizontal blowback distance. Jumping K now launches opponent higher. Jumping dust reduces frontal hurtbox. Will now cause less wall break value gain. Ground throw decreased recovery upon successful. Gun Flame Feint, decreased recovery. Volcanic Viper. Sol is now in a standing position on landing rather than crouching, added a hitbox directly after ascent, and hitbox now remains thorough. I think the hardest hit people you can tell is Sol, and Ram is up in the air depending on wording. Same with Nago. Hitachi said Nago wasn't hit as bad the way he sees it. I mean, and I'm going to trust him on that one. Beyblade is the thing that got hit the biggest. So that I think is like that's the thank goodness that's gone, or that's not as strong. I mean, it's not gone, it's still a thing. But yeah, it looks like Sol did get hit pretty hard. Okay, you see, I think this is what's been fucking me up with Souls lately, is this can no longer be Roman. Like, he was Roman canceling while I was trying to burst them off me, and they were staying, and I was like, you motherfucker. I wonder how many people were just using that now that they know that they could do it today. Kai, recovery on Dire Eclat has been decreased, making it easier to buffer after normal. Fuck off. Usage restriction on stun edge has been revised in the recovery of aerial stun edge. I mean, a lot of this could just be like small numbers that end up happening, and like everybody just kind of. I just hope it flattens everything out. That's what I'm hoping. Okay, you know what? This is gonna be a lot to go over. So what I do want to do is get a good look at Potemkin and see what's going on here. So Garuda Impact is now easier to follow up when near the corner on aerial hit, making punishing the opponent's backdash more rewarding. And I swear, I know all of Potemkin's move names. And I'm not opening up another window to remember what all my move names are in another window. That's not happening. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, King Barrel, doing well. FDR is Flick. That one I know. Yes, I'm looking at the patch notes. I'm a big Gorilla Potemkin. Big old meaty man. Oh boy. Okay. So, Grid Impact's now used to follow up. Gigantic is the one used to function as both an invincible move and as a way to maintain offense. It no longer has invincibility, but has been improved as a tool to maintain offensive pressure. It now works in a block string after forward K, opening up the potential for a high-low mix-up with his dust attack or sweep, or going for guard crush with Garuda Impact. So basically, instead of everywhere where I've been trying to, like, everywhere where I yeah, I'm a grappler at heart, and therefore I play grapplers. Okay, that was literally the Garuda Impact is the big gun. That's what I thought it was. I just wanted to be sure. Anyway, it's now easier to follow up when near the corner, even on aerial hit, making punishing the opponent backdash. Blah, blah, forward K, opening up potential. So Gigantic is not bad, but my defensive use of it is gone effectively. We're basically, yeah, after you shoulder check, it's pretty cool actually, because it's already a forward K and it works into it pretty smoothly, right? I'm gonna have to learn that one pretty quickly. That Friday I'm gonna hit training mode, and then Wednesday I'll see if I can show off if I've learned it or not. How do you like the Anji changes, King Barrel? Are you happy? Unhappy? But here we go. Standing K, reduced frontal hurt box. So hurt box is where you can get hit while you're doing a thing, right? I apologize, I'm a noob to the. It's give or take. Okay. Kind of a noob to the tech. The notes aren't well, yeah, because they're non-direct. Like, they don't say numbers. They don't give like how much this is all gonna change or whatever. So, so I got a lot of reduced frontal hurt boxes. Reduce horizontal blowback distance on the forward HS. The opponent can no longer recover after landing on counter hit. Okay. Reduced tumble duration on counter hit. That's fine. That's the big meaty fists that come out. Yeah. Hitbox is the attacking parts. Hurtbox is where you can get. Yeah, they've changed so much. They've either made Anji good or completely gutted him. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm agreeing with you on that. Where it's like I'm looking at this as like, okay, I basically have to learn a few new tricks, to figure this all out, right? And like the Hurtbox thing, I'm gonna have to find out the hard way, right? With my luck, there will be a glitch and they accidentally increase the size of all the hurt boxes. Jumping P now launches opponent higher with decreased horizontal blowback distance. I figure. I mean, it's on whiff. It's not great anyway. Mega Fist forward, reduced damage. Mega Fist backwards, reduced damage. Truth be told, the way I look at that, like, I also agree that, yeah, they're just a little bit more discombobulated. Mega Fist, I agree, did too much damage as it was. I feel like it's a lead-in move. You Mega Fist in, you try to get your throw or you get your combo off, right? It doesn't have to do a fuck ton of damage. It does a fuck ton of damage right now, and I hope it's not like... I hope it's reduced, and, you know, I would prefer that it's not like I spam it 3 times and you're basically gutted, right? That's what I don't want. So, yes, I believe my character can be a little less strong. Potbuster, Hammerfall. The opponent can no longer recover after landing on counter hit. Okay. Increased maximum forward movement time possible. There's been a couple like quick, so I'm gonna have to be on top of my stops now because there's been times where I've sent a guy flying and tried to catch it at the back end, or just like kind of let it go and it stops on its own and still does the knock of the fists. So FDB, reduced base damage scaling, fine. Now depletes less risk level. Reduced combo blowback scaling, fine. Now causes less wall break value gain. I mean, I've always used this as an anti-projectile thing anyway. Basically gutted and nerfed the 2 or 3 things that made Anji somewhat playable, but then they buffed a bunch of other things, but it completely depends on how much they buffed and them because the notes are vague. The Garuda impact change got me sweating, not gonna lie. Yeah. So less damage on the Garuda impact, but it removes the wall bounce effect and it added a tumble effect. Huh. Like, because Garuda impact you'd hit and they just linger there while you're sitting there like, So. And then here's the Gigantic High. It's got the biggest changes on it. Projectile now appears, even if the strike hit lands, damage and blowback adjusted in line with this change. So what you were positing is it sounds like projectile now appears even if the strike hit lands. Damage and blowback adjusted in line with this change. I'm gonna have to see how that works. Like I'm gonna do some test runs with it on Friday. Removed invincibility, increased duration of tension penalty. Yeah. Reduced attack startup. Okay, well that I like because it felt like it took forever sometimes. Reduced recovery from it. Okay, so I'm not going to be walking to it, I guess, as fast. Expanded hitbox, so the strike hit no longer gains tension when the strike hit lands. I would explain a few things. So basically what a whole lot of people did to get at it was backdash and take the hit. It would send you flying away from him, and you'd not sit, oh, okay. So now you're going to get knocked away, and it's still going to be there coming at you. Fair enough. I'll take that. Now, here's the thing that I do kind of like, is it no longer triggers wall break when it strike hits land. So it's kind of a 50-50. If you're looking to combo with it, and you do get the hit off in the corner, cool, I can start comboing, and the combo will get the wall breaker, but it seems like no longer just a super is going to push the wall break right away. Projectile now decelerates when close to the corner. It's changing. It doesn't look like it's bad. It's different. It is massively different. So, Maple Missy just throwing her hooters out there. Yeah, okay. So I'm cool. Honestly, it's too soon to tell, is what I'm gonna say on that one. Too soon to tell. So yeah, it's just a different tool. I'm gonna take care of that decay, and we're gonna find something fun to watch as we calm down for the end of this. So we got a lot of half-hour videos in here, so we're probably gonna go with one of them because you know how I am with pausing and talking about them. Do we want to take? Do you want me to take from the Discord? Yeah, we're gonna find out on Friday. We're all gonna find out our things. Everybody's gonna be in training mode on Friday. Like the tower will be empty, except for those absolute mad lads who have to find out that way. And all the power to those guys. Those guys are out of their damn minds, and I don't have that kind of thinking. Hit that. That. I gotta find a way to match this to what we have. It's okay. What it means is that we have two choices. We can watch one of the brand new ones, and we're probably gonna go with this one, the Daryl Talks Games When Combat Tells a Story, because I'm a big wrestly lad. Fair enough. Well, why is every button? Oh goddamn! Why is every button I press or own like super sensitive today? This is wow. It's already in HD. Eh? All right. So when combat tells a story, psychology. No, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna watch this, and then next week we're gonna watch that the Sugar Punch design on that spends a lot of time talking about the art and music of Guilty Gear Strive, and then we'll go from there. So calm down time and fighting game shit. Yeah, I'm basically becoming Potemkin, and my flicks are gonna start like just demolishing windows or shit. Right? Is that what you're saying? Too much. The new mode is fucking. It's making me too much now.
Fans are deep into the card of WrestleMania 24.
Oh, okay. Here.
It's a muggy March evening.
I don't want to double that one up.
Fans are deep into the card of WrestleMania 24, the show of shows in WWE, the Super Bowl of professional wrestling for decades. A seasoned Shawn.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut this out for YouTube.
The same Shawn Michaels who
Actually, we don't make any money on YouTube, so we'll just
to begin his singles career,
let them content claim it.
60 minutes in the ring with the great Bret Hart to win his first world championship, who was WWE's first Grand Slam champion, who once posed for Playgirl, and the man who arguably immortalized the super kick. A vicious maneuver that has every bit as much aesthetic appeal as it does potential to be used out of nowhere. The Heartbreak Kid was famous for pulling it
off this one.
Second to
Goof.
win, but typically as his opponent was struggling.
Poor Sheldon Benjamin on that one.
He would stand in the corner and stomp his foot, tuning up the band and signaling to the crowd that his patented sweet chin music, as he called it, was on the way. A finishing maneuver he had been using up to this point for over 16 years. However, on this evening, as he went to do so, he hesitates. The cocky young man who has made a name for himself over
This is gonna be the Ric Flair thing.
ruthless, charismatic,
Totally forgot what he said. What
decisive,
WrestleMania he said.
suddenly can't find it in himself to finish off his opponent.
I don't know if you pre-watched this, but this is the one where Shawn Michaels turns to him and goes, "I'm sorry, I love you," before he fucking obliterates an old man.
He gently sets his foot down, drops his head, and with a tear in his eye, he looks at the other man in the ring. The man looks back, and reluctantly,
Oh, I know this one.
Michaels finally pulls the trigger.
Bam!
This was a quiet little moment in the Nature Boy Ric Flair's retirement match. The stipulation going into it was that if Rick lost, he would be forced to retire. Which, of course, the two men knew going into it that this was to be Rick's last match, a proper WrestleMania send-off for a proper legend in the business. As I mention every holiday season when we close out the year with a video comparing pro wrestling to video games in some obscure way, wrestling is fake in the same
Me and Daryl Talks Games are officially kindred spirits. We've never met each other. We don't know one another. But goddamn, we are clearly kindred spirits. You can't argue with it.
Way that most forms of entertainment are fake. Do these two men actually hate each other? Was a dog collar match really a better way to solve their problems than a simple chat over coffee? No, of course not. But it was hella entertaining, and it's hard to fake bumps like this. Pro wrestling tells
Fuck, I forgot about that one.
Movies and
Dude, Cody Rhodes is an absolute mad lad. I don't know if you watch Wrestling Slash, but this past weekend he was at Hell in the Cell. He had a match with Seth Rollins. But prior to said match, he tore his pectoral muscle. I don't know if you've ever seen what a torn pectoral muscle looks like, but let me see if I can't find it. Cody Rhodes, Hell in a Cell. This is what it looks like. He wrestled the entire match with that. This is the son of a plumber, and he is out of his mind, and I respect him so goddamn much. I feel bad for what he had to deal with in AEW. Because, anyway, I won't get into that. Either way.
Characters, conflict, resolution. Wrestling, however, is sold as a sport, not a cinematic experience. Meaning most of the communication is non-verbal. So much has to be said between the ropes without a single word being uttered. And I think that's an art form that's largely misunderstood.
Oh, we're gonna get a claim dispute from like every single organization. Good.
Or a current day MJF promo.
Ain't nobody gonna be able to claim it.
It's best. However, in-ring storytelling, to me, has always been immensely more moving and universally relatable. Even if you don't know that Shawn Michaels is now being tasked with retiring the man he grew up idolizing and that Flair is begging for a proper send-off, you can feel in this moment from their body language and from Shawn's hesitation that they are both torn because there is no escape from what must happen next. This subtle moment of HBK struggling to put away the Nature Boy says so much without saying anything at all. And this is exactly the sensation I got a while back when fighting Toriel in Undertale.
Before we get into that, let him fight over the 10 cents. How do I put this? There's a guy on Twitch, and I don't know if he still does a podcast. But his name is, he goes by Jury. I think his full name is Justin Robert Young. But he put it as eloquently as he possibly could when it came to a description of pro wrestling. And it's the one that, as an adult, I have come to accept. Because, god damn it, it makes the most sense, and it explains why a 40-year-old man can sit there and watch a bunch of guys pretend to fight. And it is this. Wrestling is violent, interactive theater. And it's interactive theater in the sense that I can yell at a guy in the ring, and he can react to it. Right? And it's part of the act. He'll turn to me, like I've seen wrestlers at local indie shows or even at big shows turn to some particularly obnoxious guy in the crowd. Sometimes it's been me. And just like give him some kind of either clever line or just shut the fuck up. Right? So, and like you don't get that if you go to like a musical theater. I mean, you're going to get shut the fuck up if you're particularly obnoxious in a musical theater, but usually it's shh, applaud the songs, be done with it, right? They're not going to interact with you. That's not what they're going to do. That's not their goal. That's not the point. The point is they're telling their story out there. They're telling their story, and you're part of the show to enough of a degree. Like you better not be throwing fucking hands at pro wrestlers. If you do, you're a piece of shit. Keep your hands to yourself, but yell at them. Make fun of them. Call them names. Boo the guys you like, or you boo the guys you hate. Cheer the guys you like. You know? And they'll react, and they'll work with that. I don't know if they're going to get into it, but like there's a match that happened in Toronto. I was there live for it. It was The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan last showed up at our stadium at WrestleMania 6 to wrestle the Ultimate Warrior. So he has kind of a hometown vibe. He's from Tampa, but Toronto kind of adopted him because of the Skydome and because of that match. And all of a sudden, we were cheering for Hulk Hogan and just insulting and taunting The Rock to the point where they switched the good guy, bad guy role in that match. And then the next day, The Rock came out and said, "Fuck you, Toronto." So that's the level of interaction you can get. It could change the whole fucking show and the entire dynamic just by being a part of an audience. Anyway.
First time. The longer your encounter with her, the more she becomes reluctant to keep you trapped inside the ruins. As the battle goes, she finds it harder and harder to bring herself to attack you. And I don't say that because there was a cutscene or because dialogue explicitly told me. It was because her actual attacks made that clear. At first, you have to dodge her magic, but as the fight progresses, the attacks become shorter and eventually the magic just starts to go around you. She's missing on purpose. You can just put the controller down and she won't hurt you. She can't bring herself to anymore. Fighting is inherently the backbone of pro wrestling, and I think we know it's inherently part of a ton of games now, for better or for worse. And as someone who is a huge connoisseur of both, today I'd like to have a dog collar match with all of you. About what has worked for me in combat storytelling in both mediums, what hasn't, why each has and hasn't, what games can borrow from wrestling to tell deeper stories, the psychology behind these things, and then we'll end this video on a damn good recent example that kinda ties it all together. Then we'll exchange presents, drink eggnog, and reminisce about holidays past.
Clearly this video came out around Christmas.
Barbershop window, your choice.
I remember watching, this shows how fucking old I am. I remember watching when that whole Shawn Michaels putting Marty Jannetty's head through the fucking window thing occurred. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going to see if I can't speed things up on my PC a bit. God, I can't wait till I build a new one.
This is the RKO. You've probably seen it in meme videos like this before. But if you watch wrestling like me, you'll know this has long been the finishing move of one Randy Orton, a future Hall of Famer.
Randall Keith
Randy's
Orton.
character over the years has evolved from a stock young babyface to one of the most sadistic and unpredictable stars in the business, known for his vicious offense and betraying those he may be aligned with, whether they be an authority figure, a fellow wrestler, or even his on-screen lover.
Ain't nobody safe from the
His
RKO.
unsettling, calculating demeanor paired with his unpredictability has earned him the nickname the Viper. And while that character can certainly be communicated via promo and commentary, the RKO itself is the perfect reflection of this. Much like a snake bite, it's quick, it's unpredictable, and it's devastating. Offense should illustrate the character as much as outfits and dialogue do, which is one reason I love Octopath Traveler so much. The characters are all extremely fleshed out, especially in battle. Alphen is an aspiring apothecary. He prides himself on healing others and mixing new ingredients to brew up the perfect concoction he needs. You see this in the story.
We played this on
but
stream
also
many moons ago.
on the battlefield with his concoctability that allows you to mix ingredients you've picked up and make something to use in battle. Tressa is constantly looking to collect rare items and haggling with others for some extra dough, and in combat, she will literally pay some dudes to come help out. The Undertaker is, well, the Undertaker. He buries people, so he uses the Tombstone Piledriver, which leaves the opponent unconscious and positioned perfectly for a casket. A little silly, but growing up, this added so much to the character. And since people very rarely kicked out of this, it sold the idea that the dead man truly was some sort of unbeatable supernatural force. In Fire Emblem, we're told that Hilda is lazy and
It's really good, yeah.
which is reflected in her authority stat. It's abysmal. She's not fit to lead in the narrative, and that's backed up by her stats. Same goes for the former Opera House performer Dorothea, who based on her stats is arguably the best dancer class unit in the game. When the in-game system or the in-ring system mirrors the character, we buy the
Fucking goddamn Randy Orton and his shit.
selling. And why is that the case?
Say the line, Bart.
Ludonarrative dissonance. But I have a psych study about it, and it's interesting, I promise. And I know I'm just really shoehorning in wrestling, but whatever. I'm sorry. I'll just play the damn mysterious music. In 2019, researchers at UC Santa Cruz conducted a study where they would have subjects play 3 different games in a randomized order. One game was September 12th, which informs you explicitly up front that it is not a game. There is no winning or losing, there is no end, because the end has already begun. You have the option to eliminate villains, but at the risk of also harming civilians. When you accidentally take out civilians, their loved ones mourn and turn into villains themselves. Then you decide who to eliminate next, if anyone, until the researchers stop you. The next game is called Limb, where you play as a colorful block in a maze. There is no explicit goal, but there is an end to the maze if you happen to find it.
I swear to God, if I find out this experiment is where we got Thomas was alone, I'm gonna be pissed.
You'll find other blocks that will violently push you around and impede your progress, unless your block matches colors with them. You can change your color and blend in to avoid being pushed around. However, blending slows you down and zooms the camera way in, restricting your vision. And if you blend too long, the screen will shake and you'll eventually stop. Should you happen to get to the end of the maze, another multicolor block will greet you, and the game will end. The last game is called Thurs, in which players match number tiles on a grid to shoot for a high score. It's a little abstract puzzle game and plays very similar to 2048. Now, the purpose behind these 3 games being chosen specifically was to explore whether procedural rhetoric, or as we would call it, game mechanics, can accurately convey an argument or stance to players, and if so...
Oh god, it is what led to Thomas is alone.
September 12th tested mechanics and dialogue together, with its mention of the War on Terror in the instructions. Limb tested mechanics with no dialogue, since it's up to you to decide if the controls, the enemies, and the blending mechanic communicated a larger argument. And Threes was the controls, since there was no larger argument to it. It's just a puzzle, dog. After each game, the subjects would answer a few questions, including, did the game contain an argument? As you'd imagine, Threes was overwhelmingly no, September 12th was overwhelmingly yes, but interestingly, Limb was also majority yes. Granted, it was not as on the nose as September 12th, it did contain an intended argument. And although it wasn't as staggering a yes as September 12th, a strong majority still...
I have another example of this. I just don't remember where I keep it. Here it is. It's actually right behind me. This is a board game called Clans. Now, the pieces in Clans are colored huts. And ultimately the idea is you're trying to dominate with your color without letting anybody know whose color is what. And I think this direction, where the direction this guy is going, is that inherently, if there's conflict between color and etc., 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 there is to a certain degree an element of like almost, it's not quite, but it's the same element that is racism, right? Or, you know, that sort of conflict, racial conflict to a certain degree. And the brain kind of perceives that because its colors try to dominate in X amount of thing, right? That one's way more abstract than this one. This one's huts in terrain and shit like that. So, but ultimately it comes down to the same thing. The huts are meaningless. They're huts, right? So, anyway. Also, a really good game I'd suggest if you're looking to like have a board game in your shelf that's for newbies or starters, because it's a secret information game. So nobody can tell you're doing it wrong until the end of the game. I like that. Secret information games are really good for introducing people into abstract board gaming because at first you can't tell they're doing it wrong. And you as a result, there's less of that anxiety of, fuck, am I fucking up the strategy? Nobody can tell you because nobody knows what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? That's my personal opinion. Clans is what got me into this nonsense. Like, it was It was a gateway because it started with clans, then eventually with power plant, and then Tickets to Ride, and it was all over.
Still believed it to contain an argument despite no attached dialogue or narrative. Mechanics matter and communicate more than we really think about. Simply the rules and inner workings of a game, much like the inner workings of a wrestling match or battle system, communicate a ton, even when you remove the context and dialogue. Like, take Final Fantasy VII as an example. Cloud tells the gang that Sephiroth's power is incredible, but we didn't really need him to say that, did we? Because right before this is said, we saw it happen.
Yeah, he one-shots a dragon.
Sephiroth's attacks deal massive quantities of damage that you haven't even seen yet at this point in the game. Meanwhile, Cloud can't even hit the dragon. Oh, and the dragon's attacks do no damage at all to Sephiroth. We understand exactly what's happening here because we understand the mechanics. Kenny Omega's finisher, fittingly called the One-Winged Angel, yes, it is named after Sephiroth, Kenny is a big gaming fan, is one of, if not the strongest finishers in the business. Not because that's what everyone says, but because no one has ever kicked out of it. If he hits...
To this day, the closest anybody's come was Kazuchika Okada in New Japan. His hand was near the rope and grabbed the rope, but it wasn't a kick out. You know? Nobody's kicked out of the One-Winged Angel yet.
It's this move, he wins, which is unheard of in pro wrestling nowadays. When finishers in wrestling are rarely kicked out of, you'll often hear wrestling nerds say the move is well protected. Because any move that gets kicked out of a lot sort of loses its credibility and breaks the illusion of its power. If it's not winning matches, why should I believe it's really a threat? It'd be like an insanely animated move in a game that doesn't really do much damage. Which is why you are probably more scared of this thing than this thing.
I swear to God, you want to talk about Final Fantasy trauma?
Which is why you are probably more scared of this thing.
How many of these did I even fight in Strangers of Paradise? How many did I did I actually engage in combat? One? Fucking Tonberries. Long-term trauma in a nutshell. Fucking probably community trauma. Like, this probably has created as much community trauma as Mimics created in From Software games, to the point where I attacked every single treasure chest in Bloodborne, in Sekiro, and in Elden. It took till like almost the final boss that I stopped attacking treasure chests in Elden Ring. And they are going to fucking do it in the DLC, I'm sure of it.
Than this thing. Another example of this is in Paper Mario. Spoilers for a 16-year-old game, I guess. When the Shadow Queen shows you her true form, you legit can't do any damage to her for like 3 turns, no matter what you try. You experience firsthand that she's really unkillable. Then Friendship Ex Machina, and you can finally have a fair fight.
Friendship Ex Machina.
Counterexample. What if there is a disconnect between the narrative and the battle mechanics? What if the game gives you a little ludonarrative dissonance? Is it really that bad? What if it's early in the game and you are about to fight
The most powerful driver in the Empire, and wielder of bridges, the most powerful blade.
then you somehow win, and it's not actually all that difficult. And then the game hits you with
Stubborn child. Why don't you just give it?
It's like, no, bitch, I just won this
it hits
fight.
you with questions
Fucking
like,
hate when they do
"Hey,
that.
I thought I was winning. Were they really that strong?
Drives me
Are they
nuts.
That strong? Should this be so jarring? Why are there monsters in the wild stronger than them? Did Daryl really pull this example from an old donkey vid? Guess we'll never know. See, this is one thing that plagues a lot of games. The battles don't always support the narrative, at least without the use of cutscenes. Remember how the narrative used to always hype up legendary Pokemon as literally being able to move heaven and earth, but then once you find them, their level is conveniently like around the same level as your best Pokemon? Then of course it's like 10 or 15 levels lower than the Elite Forest Pokemon. And I get why from a game design perspective this is, but it does take away from the believability just a bit. Like, as much as
I think if you look back at the original Pokemon games, they were 100% guilty but innocent at the same time. Like, they made the legendary birds all level... Actually, no, they made all the legendaries were level 7. 7D. in the first Pokemon game, if I remember correctly. So like Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno, all level 70, and same with Mewtwo, I believe. And like nothing was level 70. So they got it right the first time. Why the fuck did they fuck it up the last time? Well, because nobody went and like nobody was big enough level or able to handle them in the middle of the game. So you either choose one to Master Ball during your game and then roll the Elite Four with it or whatever. And yeah, it was a little rough on Pokemon's design. So ultimately became, yes, balancing reasons. But caveat, does it ruin the story to a certain degree? And yes, exactly. I used to run into this problem all the time for the game I used to play, HeroClix. God damn it. HeroClix and wrestling shows up in my fucking life non-stop. It's a miniatures game, and there are characters with an ability called Stealth. And if they are in hindering terrain, you cannot draw a line of fire to them. Pretty simple ruling, right? What got wacky is people unfamiliar with game rules and understanding that game mechanics are there to balance a game would look at a comic book, or would be like, comic books, rah! And then like a character would be standing next to somebody who has stealth, and even though they're next to somebody, they're trying to use an ability that requires a line of fire. And the rules say no. They changed it recently, sons of bitches. But for the longest time, it was like people had the hardest time understanding. It's like, dude, I understand. It sucks. It's how game mechanics work though, bro. Fucking fuckers.
Absolutely adored Ghost of Tsushima top to bottom. There were some fights in there that were pretty emotionally driven, where maybe that person didn't really want to be fighting Jin. I would have loved attacks where maybe they hesitate or show some reluctance and you have the option to get in a free shot or don't, kind of like we saw with Toriel or with...
It's rules, not the story, exactly.
Instead, they just come across as another difficult enemy and follow the story all through cutscene and mid-fight dialogue. I think you get my point. If a game tells you something, it should tell you that thing in all aspects: cinematics, dialogue, and battle mechanics. But let's put a bow on this video by talking about what I kind of consider the peak of the mountain when it comes to storytelling through combat. Let me tell you about a cloudy evening in Jacksonville, Florida on November 7th, 2020. Let me tell you the story of the Young Bucks versus F.
Now, before he gets into this, I'm almost going to guarantee that one of the things that made the storytelling in this so good was that prior to this match, the storytelling was terrible. The dialogue, the lead up, the tension building before it was just not good at all. I think he's going to get into the other details, but
TR. Tag team wrestling is a beautiful thing. Teams like the Road Warriors, the Hart Foundation, and the Hardy Boys, just to name a few, laid the foundation for a format of wrestling that is entirely different from the one-on-one competition people typically come to expect from combat sports. It's fun, it's fast, it's hard-hitting, and yet in the hands of another pair of teams, it might be careful, calculated, strategic. Teams can win by unleashing a flurry of high-octane two-man offense, or by simply grinding away at one of the members of the other team by cutting the ring in half and keeping them from ever getting a tag. And in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, tag team wrestling in WWE was incredible. However, as the 2000s...
Okay, I am one of those guys. I would rather watch a tag team match than a singles match, because so much cool shit can happen and so much drama gets added by adding an extra person in the opposing corner, right? I'm going to tag my buddy, and then all of a sudden, buddy goes and cheats his way around the ring and pulls him off of the ring. It's like, ha ha ha, I can't tag him now, can you? Right? And the ref is often oblivious to it, and it's so cool.
And the 2010s began, pure tag team wrestling felt sort of like a dying breed. WWE, for some, seemed to be focusing more on individual feuds and only held tag matches as sort of a tool to promote larger narratives or to get more stars in the ring at once. However, one tag team not on a WWE roster was keeping the tag team scene relevant, and this was none other than the Young Bucks. Matt and Nick Jackson were two young men devoted to becoming the best tag team in the world, which if you look at their resume, it's hard to argue they didn't do exactly that. With their high-flying, fast-paced, flashy offense, they dominated several promotions including PWG, New Japan, and Impact, and would even go on to become VPs of All Elite Wrestling, a promotion with a flourishing tag team scene, where notably they have not yet won the tag titles. However, as the Bucks were making a name for themselves, WWE's new brand NXT was doing their part to revive tag team wrestling with teams like...
Now, here is the beautiful part. I'm going to spoil a little bit of the story. This team in NXT, they're going to be we call them FTR now. They were called the Revival in NXT. And the Young Bucks were over here. Completely different companies, and the rivalry between them had already started thanks to social media. My God, as much as I hate fucking social media lately, just as a tool in general, it has done so many things for things like pro wrestling.
War Raiders, DIY, and The Revival, a team named after their own fighting philosophy that harkened back to the classic tag team wrestling style of the 1980s, echoing movesets of the Brainbusters and other 80s teams. They aimed to revive a more traditional, in-ring, mat-based, no flips, just fists approach to winning matches. And much like the Bucks, they were successful on screen and with wrestling fanatics. Both teams critic darlings, but separated by promotions. A dream match if there ever was one, but wasn't going to happen.
I also want to point out, I love both teams for what they are. The Young Bucks represent the new shit, the flippy shit, the cool acrobatic stuff, and these guys represent what I used to watch in the 80s and 90s. And that stuff is good. This stuff can be good, and this stuff can be good in pro wrestling. And too many people are like, this is terrible, this is the only thing that we should have, or this is the new thing, this thing's outdated. It's like, no, motherfuckers, they're both good. Shut the fuck up. God, I feel like it's one place where it's like being a centrist is like, but I just like it, guys. And you're right.
Until this year.
Another truck pulling up to Daly's place. Hey, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. FTR.
Frustrated with WWE creative, the Revival found their way to AEW, now going by FTR. And immediately they confronted the Bucks. Fast forward a few months, FTR has won the tag titles and risen to the top of their rivals' promotion. Meanwhile, the Bucks have been struggling to find themselves after a falling out with Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. But now they find themselves going head-to-head with their...
I watched the Young Bucks actually had a match with Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page in Chicago. I was there for that before the pandemic, and it was the coolest thing to see live. They fucked you. There is something about pro wrestling that I don't know if it's unspoken or if it's spoken and they're in the back and they discuss this shit, but when friends are in the ring, they clobber the fuck out of each other. Like, hit each other fucking hard sometimes. Part of it could be just an extra level of trust. I think if it was a buddy of mine, I'd be like, yeah, okay, throw that forearm with some juice, right? You know, I know you're not trying to hurt me, but you're trying to hurt me at the same time because we're trying to make it look fucking good. You know what I mean? It is the weirdest fucking thing about it, and I love it.
Dream opponents, title on the line, pay-per-view, fans in masks, no more putting this off. This is finally happening. The best of WWE versus the best of the indies. Who is really the world's best tag team? Well, turns out they're both pretty good. This was a 29-minute masterclass in in-ring psychology. We saw flashes of the Bucks' crazy high-flying offense, we saw the slow, meticulous strategy from FTR, we saw both teams let their emotions get the better of them, we witnessed each team paint a picture of what they envisioned tag team wrestling should be, all through their in-ring maneuvers. At one point, Dax and Cash hit an elevated bulldog, a move the Steiner brothers went to all the time, as well as the Heart Attack, a tag maneuver out of the Hart Foundation's playbook. FTR, simply through their choice of offense, was illustrating the type of wrestlers they grew up watching, the teams they idolized, the era they represent. Fittingly, Matt and Nick responded by hitting the 3D, then the Twist of Fate, and the Swanton Bomb, paying homage to the Dudley Boys and the Hardy Boys, the teams the Bucks have been influenced by the most.
I remember catching all this stuff, and I'm getting that tingle I got when I first saw it. It's like, oh, cool. Oh, fuck, that was cool.
Offense they admired as kids wrestling on trampolines in the backyard.
You can see the generations that inspired both of these wrestlers. The Young Bucks invoking the Hardys, the Dudleys, FTR, the Hart Foundation, the Steiner brothers.
There was a nail-biting moment towards the end where Matt Jackson is so angry at Dax Harwood that he struggles to keep himself from just wailing away at him with a chair, which would disqualify the Bucks and blow their final shot at the tag titles. The history between the teams is so far-reaching and so personal that both teams simply can't maintain their composure. Which brings us to the finish. Nick Jackson is indisposed, Matt Jackson is injured, he can't really put weight on his left ankle, and for all intents and purposes, Cash Wheeler can now grab the win for his team. But in a final act of defiance, he abandons his game plan. He simply can't resist winning this match by putting away the Bucks
You have to watch
with their
this.
own offense and by trying a 450 splash of his own. And his ego costs him.
A move you'd literally never see FTR do, and that, like, to sell the desperation, both the desperation and, like, the big-headedness of it. He's like, I can do your shit too, and he fucking fucks himself up doing it.
Look, I'll be the first to admit that this video went way off the rails of where my work usually goes, but damn it, this is a topic that I love. Storytelling in any art form doesn't always
Very out of character, and that was the beauty of it.
things left unsaid, and that which is read between the lines or between the ropes is one of the finest ways to make people feel things.
They've got to be due for a match soon, too. I've kind of lost track of what's going on at AEW because I can't watch it because I stream on Wednesdays.
But I would love it if you did. So let me know in the comments below your magnum opus of a video game telling a story through its battle system. I can't tell you how much fun I had making this video and watching this match live the night it happened. Matches like this make me proud to be a pro wrestling fan, and sharing this with you in the context of gaming gets me excited for all the possibilities and all the gripping stories that are yet to be told in the ring and in our next big adventure.
Now, let's do his little exercise. What is a game that hits you in the fifis with its battle system? And I am going to try hard not to use Ghost of Tsushima as an example, because he's already used it in there, and the final fight made me go, oh man, this is beautiful. Part of me wants to say the fight with Artorias in Dark Souls tells an amazing story that's there if you look at it, right? And that's like, just through the animations and fighting Artorias, watching him drag that arm while still managing to carry that like, just the desperation in which he moves with, and like the non-caring of his fucked up arm, I thought was pretty cool. An RPG Maker game called Off. Interesting. What's another one? What's another good one? I'm trying to think of one that's actually like Dark Souls. The story is told through the combat. I'm trying to think of one where the actual, like, everything about it hit the emotions. I've had like quite a few games that I'm just trying to remember what they all were, because like, part of me wants to say Sekiro, but Sekiro, it felt kind of emotionless at the end. Like, the guy just got what he wanted, ultimately. That's the thing, like, I have to stare at my... I need to stare at my game shelf sometimes to just trigger that. Like, okay, hold on a second, what's going on? What do I need to do? I mean, also, again, Dark Souls once again, Sif, the dog, gets low on health and starts whimpering. It's like, fuck! Sorry, doggy, I gotta do it.
Play character purifying different worlds, but when you become a gray, empty hub. God, I got Souls likes in my brain. I gotta fucking pull them out. Nope, that's not a good one. Oh shit. No, I was gonna say the Hulk. The Hulk for the SNES had a really interesting approach to the final boss fight, where it turns out if you like show up as the Hulk, because in that game, if you took him X amount of damage, you turn into Bruce Banner, right? So if you showed up to the final boss, who was the leader, who's like the Hulk except brains instead of brawn, you have this like big boss fight with a big robot. But if you show up as Bruce Banner, you can just shoot him and you're done, because you get a gun as Bruce Banner, which I thought was its own little neat storytelling mechanic. It's like, well, fucking Banner's done with your shit, bam. Right? Yeah, the Hulk is too dumb, but I'm the scientist brain, and I know how to just fucking end this nonsense. Son of a bitch. This is something to think about. This is a good conversation to have. One of those things that I don't think we put enough thought into. At one point before you purify the world, you fight a worker that got caught in a coal tunnel. His head was huge, and the only attack he did was the... Oh my god! That's a gut punch. Yeah, that's a good one. That is really fucked up. Oh my god. Alright. Unfortunately, I gotta cut this short because I actually have to go to the washroom, and it is 1 o'clock anyway. So, tomorrow we get good or get fit. Dark Souls continues. Friday, Amber is going to be taking over to play some more, I think, Stardew Valley. Anyway, have a good one, everybody. Have a good night.